There is an old philosophical question called the Ship of Theseus. A ship sails the sea for many years. Each time a plank weakens, it is replaced. One plank becomes two, two become many, until one day not a single original plank remains. And the question is asked, is it still the same ship? And if someone gathers all the old planks and rebuilds the ship again somewhere else, which one is the real ship? The one that continued, or the one that is made of the originals? I used to think this was just a clever puzzle. Now I think it was quietly describing us. Because somewhere between childhood and now, I also became a ship. As a child, my ship was built of certainties. My hero had a name, Rajinikanth. Not admiration, not liking, celebration. Birthdays mattered. Movie releases felt like personal events. Magazine cutouts were collected like relics. On our shelf stood one particular image, not a mass hero pose, not an action scene, just a calm Rajni, white jibba, that unmistakable gentle smile. Not a poster, a presence. It is not that I disliked Kamal Hassan, but Rajni was something else. And yet, I don't know where the first plank was replaced. Today I admire both, but the blind devotion has softened. Fandom has turned into perspective, emotion into evaluation. I don't remember the day the die-hard fan retired. There was no farewell, only one quiet realization. I'm no longer the same kind of admirer. Was that still me? Or was one plank already gone? Let me pause here and ask you something. Who was your first hero? Not just someone you liked, someone you believed in without a doubt. Do you still love them the same way? Or did that plank also quietly leave your ship? As a child, faith was another plank. I recited shlokas during festivals, sang bhakti songs with my mother during Navaratri. God lived in oil lamps, in incense smoke, in the rhythm of mornings. Faith was not a choice, it was in the air. And then, I don't know when, questions entered. Not with rebellion, not with anger, softly. A science lesson here, a doubt there, a silence that stayed longer than the prayer. Today, I stand somewhere between agnostic and atheistic. Not because I fought God, but because certainty slowly loosened its grip. I still respect the people who believe, still feel something when bells ring. But belief no longer sits where it once lived. Another plank replaced. Quietly. Tell me, do you still believe the way you once did? Or did your ship also change wood without informing you? As a child, I was not a reader. The only books that entered my life came through weekly Tamil magazines, Anandavikitan and Kumudam. Even there, I had my territories. Jokes, cinema news, anything with pictures. Words without images felt like hard work. Then came a short phase of travel reading. Buses, trains, whodunit crime novels by Rajesh Kumar and Sujata. Fast, addictive, consumed only to kill time. Still, I wasn't a reader. And then, one day, a different plank arrived. Airport by Arthur Haley. That was the first time I remember reading not to pass time, but to disappear into time. I did not feel hunger. I did not feel sleep. Only pages. I still remember my Amma's calls for dinner. First gentle, then louder, then impatient. And finally, she came and pulled the book out of my hands. I went to dinner reluctantly. Something had changed. Not announced, but irreversible. From that day on, books were no longer objects. They became entrances. Another plank replaced forever. Let me ask you now, when did reading change for you? Or did something else take that place? Some games, sports, a phone, a screen, a silence? Which plank left your childhood ship? As a child, ice cream was not just food. It was longing. I had tonsillitis. So often, I was denied ice creams, which meant every ice cream was sacred. I still remember the street ice cream man, parlays, semia ice, and once in a blue moon, chocolate fudge-coated miracles. And one day, while eating one of those rare treasures, half of it fell into the mud. I remember staring at it. Not crying, not moving, just staring. Because I knew it would be 3 or 4 months before I saw another one. That muddy, half-melted ice cream felt like my entire universe at that moment. And today, it is not that I do not crave it. I actively avoid it. Not for health, not for discipline. I simply do not like it anymore. And I truly do not know when that yearning died. Another plank removed. Tell me, what did you once crave with your whole being? And when did it quietly stop mattering? Do you remember the exact moment? Or did it vanish between 2 ordinary days? Now look at the Ship of Theseus again. Hero worship changed. Faith transformed. Reading was rewritten. Desires were reprogrammed. If identity is built of what we love, what we believe, what we crave, what we avoid, then tell me honestly, are you still made of the same wood that you were at 8 years old? Or at 16? Or even at 25? At what point did you stop being you and become this version? And more disturbingly, was that ever a single moment when the change was complete? Or did it only become visible in hindsight? Here's the uncomfortable truth about growing up. We do not transform in chapters. We transform in unnoticed replacements. One belief at a time, one admiration at a time, one craving at a time. Slow enough for memory to miss it, fast enough for identity to shift. Time is the most patient carpenter. It replaces all our planks without ceremony. Sometimes I imagine my younger self standing before me, the boy who worshipped the star, believed without doubt, read only for pictures, and longed for ice cream like prayer. He would look at me and ask, "Where did all my certainties go?" And I would not have a satisfying answer because truthfully, I do not know when. So now I pass the question to you, not as philosophy, as memory. Which plank of yours was replaced first? Which belief left without a goodbye? Which craving became an avoidance? Which passion quietly turned into indifference? Were you watching when it happened? Or did you only notice years later? Perhaps the Ship of Theseus is not really about ships. Perhaps it is about forgiveness, forgiving ourselves for no longer being who we once promised to become. Perhaps identity is not a solid thing at all. Perhaps it's a river, and we keep trying to step into it as if the same water will still be there. Am I the same person I was a child? In memory, yes. In material, no. But the ship still carries my name. It still sails forward. It still remembers the sea. So maybe the ship is not defined by its planks. Maybe it is defined by continuity. By the fact that even while changing completely, we still remain in motion. We still remain aware. We still remain becoming. If today you cannot fully recognize the child you once were, don't be afraid. You're not broken. You're not inconsistent. You're simply a ship that has been sailing for a very long time. This is Saki, wishing you a very good night and an even better tomorrow.